Welcome to Enlightenment of Change on webtalkradio.net. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. Thanks for joining us today. So you know that change, right, is really, really hard. And I hope right out of the gate, I'd like to share a tool that I offer you for free. And hopefully it helps you on your journey of change. So go to my website, whitmanassociates.com/ it's my communication style assessment. So whitmanassociates.com/CSA free, and I give you a cool report that tells you about your superpowers, and you get a report that tells you about your blind spots. Sometimes I think the blind spots are even more important than our superpowers, because if we don't know they're there, we could be shooting ourselves in the foot over and over and over again. So again, whitmanassociates.com/CSA, my gift to you on hopefully navigating this world that seems to be changing by the day. Additionally, of course, if you're loving the show, which I do hope you are, please share it with your friends and family. Subscribe, rate, review, send me some love. I feel it and I love it, and I send it back to you. So today's quote, I want to start with my motivational quote. It is by Tony Dungy or Dungy, I'm not sure. But Tony says, "Be positive. Your mind is more powerful than you think. What is down in the well comes up in the bucket. Fill yourself with positive things." So lately, have you been hearing, it feels like more and more we keep hearing about mindset and how to improve the self-talk so that perhaps, hopefully, we could decrease some of the stress in our life. Is it because that we just all face this really hard year in 2020? Or is it just that life is stressful? Or is it that our mindset is a mess? Whatever the reason, the topic is hot, and I think it's a necessary one for us to create and sustain the change and happiness that, we're all seeking, and I think we all deserve. So I'm excited with my awesome guest and friend, Kathy Herring. Now, Kathy is a life, wellness, and mindset coach and is the founder of Dream Life Tribe. Together with Kathy's tailored guidance, men and women have experienced decreased stress levels, more confidence and clarity, along with increased focus and personal joy. Kathy has a master's degree in behavioral counseling, and is a certified life and wellness coach, clinical hypnotist, and has 20 years of experience in her field. Kathy is a state certified licensed professional counselor, NLP practitioner, and EMDR trained. So please help me welcome my wonderfully talented and amazing friend Kathy to the show. So Kath, thanks for being on.
Hey, Connie, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here today.
Yeah, I was on Kathy's show, so go to my website and check that out because she has a great show as well. But let's get started, Kathy. Tell us what inspired you to become a life coach. There's a lot of talk about life coaching out there, so what inspired you, and can you define a little bit what it actually is?
Certainly. I'm going to start with the very beginning. When I was a child, I remember always trying to motivate and inspire my friends to do whatever they needed to do or they were afraid to do. I was the one they came to. However, as I became an adult, I got off track. And I remember that so getting back into my backstory of it is, I remember when my ex-husband and I were parting ways, I kept thinking, what do I need to do differently? And that began a journey leading me into my soul purpose. Our marriage had been rocky for quite some time, and I wanted a different lifestyle for my children. I felt like I needed a career change. Imagine that. And I felt like, I was doing bookkeeping, I was a clerical assistant, but I didn't make enough money to support us in the lifestyle that we wanted.
Sure.
And I knew I needed to do something different. However, Connie, I didn't feel very worthy at the time. And I wasn't surrounded by people inspiring me that I can do it, because all of us didn't know exactly what I needed to do when I would go to my friends and talk to them. Back then, it was early on, and our internet was just up and coming. There was no surfing the net to get some ideas about what type of career we could go into. So I remembered always helping my friends out and thought, I need to go back to college. Going to college might prove that I am worthy, was my thinking, and I went back and got my bachelor's degree because I had started that earlier and not finished.
Mm.
And then I went on and completed a master's degree. Then from there, that was in psychology. Yes. And I got I was moving along in that helping field profession of where I wanted to be and what I'd always done and didn't know that was aligning with my sole purpose. And from there, I became a state certified licensed professional coach, a counselor. So again, coaching wasn't well known to me back then because we didn't have the internet. And I would read books from coaches such as, Norman Vincent Peale, Dale Carnegie. I loved them, but I always thought of those people as those people, not something I would be doing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I enjoyed my career as a licensed professional counselor. I found it very exciting and satisfying, but I still felt like something was amiss. I still could not figure out what I needed to do, but I kept thinking I need to evolve and reach more people. Well, who would I reach? What would I do? Well, I got to thinking back to my story when I was in that transition. Well, I wish I'd had somebody I could have talked to help me get on track and know what my path is and to guide me and inspire me and motivate me. So I decided I wanted to help people build more confidence, have more clarity, ease their transition into making those hard decisions they've got to make, overcome those obstacles, face those challenges, and have more relationship satisfaction. And with that, I decided to go back and become a certified life coach. I mean, all this time I'm still working my full-time job, and I had a full-time job with a school system, and then I was also had a part-time counseling gig going on. So I went back, became a certified life coach, and began adding coaching to my part-time business. And I thought that aligned with me more because we could just get on track and do what the people had come to see me for, just help them align with their purpose, reach that goal, reach that dream, whatever it may be. So with that, I felt very successful. So I took the giant leap and quit my job in 2019 so now I do life coaching full time.
Nice.
And I just love helping people open those new doors to life's opportunities and challenges.
Yeah, and just a couple of things. I hope everybody's hearing, Kathy's story. It's common, right, Kath? When we were younger, we didn't have the internet to Google. We had to go to the library anytime we wanted to do research. And just like I said at the beginning of the show, right, we all have blind spots. So unfortunately, when that information wasn't flowing, like information now, we are the information highway, right? Because information is literally at our fingertips. It's on our phone. We have our phone and we could Google anything we want. So back then, it was like you said, well, what is that job? We didn't even know what questions to ask to do research to find the answers. So I hope everybody listening, how blessed we are now that number one, we have this information at our fingertips. We have resources like a Kathy who literally did it the hard way, but think about what she brings to the table for anybody who is in a transition in life or, something catastrophic happened like a divorce or losing a job, right? COVID, a lot of people lost jobs. So if you're in that transition, you have somebody like a Kathy. Yeah, she's got the credentials. Yes, she's been trained. But oh, by the way, she has life training as well. So I just want to make sure everybody kind of heard that and understood that because Kathy didn't come up the easy way, unfortunately. But I believe that there's value, and that's probably why you're probably a great life coach, Kathy, now, because not only of all the educational certifications and all of those pieces of the puzzle, right? So you know how to deliver it, but you have those life skills, those life stories that you can understand in a very empathetic way what people are going through because, you went through it too. So I just wanted everybody to hear that. I want to ask another question, Kath. Talk to me about, we're hearing so much this word mindset. You are a mindset coach, right? That's part of the whole life coaching thing. Can you tell us what this mindset means? Because I know I'm hearing it a lot every week now. It's a thing.
That's a great question, Connie. In fact, that's where we're headed. Our minds are so powerful that my number one strategy, such as what you just discussed, is addressing one's mindset. That's where I want to go too. And I want to know what their belief system's like, what their value system's like, because those two things need to be in alignment or near alignment to reach that goal or that threshold that they're going for. Okay?
Sure.
And I will add on to this story as we talk here. So when I meet with a client, Connie, I want to understand their belief system, and I want to help them understand what they're thinking, because sometimes what we're thinking is not matching what we value or how we want to live. And we're not aware of that. So the first thing I like to do is help someone become aware of what is matching up and what is not matching up, what is working, what is not working for them. Especially if this is relating to that goal they're trying to reach, or that dream that they desire, or that relationship they want. All of this matters. So as we research that and decide what's working and what's not working, I like to think of that as shifting our thoughts. So we get into our brain and our minds can shift to encompass new material. Did you know, Connie, that the brain's wiring will change when a person acquires and implements something new?
Yeah,
So
that's the neuroplasticity, right? That we could actually repave the wiring in our brain or the pathway in our brain, right? Is that what you're talking about?
that's what I'm talking about. So a lot of times, like you had mentioned blind spots. Many times we're operating and thinking we're being successful or just doing enough to get by because our blind spots are still operating underneath all of this.
Yes.
And we don't understand that. They could be thoughts, they could be the value system, they could be a trauma that happened that we don't even remember.
Yes.
And we need to get to the root of the problem to move forward. However, we're all still managing and we're all moving forward, whether or not we get to the root of the problem, but to have a better life or to reach that goal, or maybe sometimes people keep seeming like, I just keep going around and around in circles and I can't get out of my circle. Well, the reason you can't get out of your circle is that one thing that's stopping you is actually something that is that blinder you don't know about. And that's what we work on. That is in your mindset. That is in what we need to figure out so that we can shift that mind. And so with that, what I call myself not just a mindset coach, Connie, but a mind shift coach. Because I want to help them shift those old thinkings, enter new thinking, and discard the old thinking that's not working for them.
Yeah, I have a story for you, Kath. It was fascinating. It just happened actually yesterday, which just blows my mind, right? You have these conversations. So I launched my masterclass. It's just my 7 steps. It's a 10-week online program. And I help people sales, right? That's my world is sales. So we're about 3 weeks in, and I met with the one young lady. Shout out to my Val. She follows me diligently. I think she's like my groupie. Anyway, so Valerie's her name. And so we've been just talking and working through certain things. And I have exercises and videos and all of these things. Mindset is a piece. Now, I am not a mindset coach. I help them shift the mindset. For me, it's sales. So yesterday we met. I had a couple of questions for her that I needed clarity on before I could make a recommendation for her to move forward. And it was really cute. At the end of our conversation, Kath, she said, she had bought into another program that was what I would call a hard sell. It's the icky way to sell, right? So she had bought into it and she started hating selling more. So I think her business started failing. Not failing, she's still doing well, but she's like, why aren't I making more sales? Well, fast forward, she's been with me 3 weeks. We've had 3 classes and 3 one-hour meetings. That's it, and they're group meetings, right? Except for this little one-on-one. So yesterday she said to me, do you know I'm making a lot more money? We changed her packaging. I just said it doesn't make sense. Do these couple of little tweaks. And yesterday she said to me, I can't believe I'm making so much more money in 3 weeks. And she goes, you know why? She deleted everything that was coming from that other vendor, whoever that person was that was teaching her. She says, I deleted, I unsubscribed, and it's on ignore now because it made me hate the way I was doing my business and the way she was communicating with her clients. She goes, I'm loving you. I'm loving all your little recommendations. And of course, as I'm coaching her, like I'll say, how did that feel? Did that feel salesy to you? Because now she's so paranoid that she's coming across as salesy. She goes, no, that was wonderful. That feels so good. She's making more money. And when I tell you we're 3 weeks in, so this is the power. I just want everybody to understand that's just one little silly story on and I'm not a mindset coach, so think about that. If you work with a Kathy, what transformation is in store for you that we're focusing on those hidden beliefs, right? This was an obvious belief for Valerie. It was easy enough to manipulate and shift, but she did all the work. So, kudos to her. It's the same thing we're talking about, just on a much bigger scale of life stuff that we all have crap, by the way, right, Kath? Nobody gets away without dealing with crap in their life. So that's another thing. I think people think, oh, well, Kathy, you and Connie, you're successful. You guys have your act together. No, we don't. We're hot messes too behind the scenes, right? So this is the power of that mindset shift that we're talking about. And I just wanted to make it real tangible in a simple, one-dimensional mindset piece. And then I feel like, Kath, what you do with your clients is like on fire, right? It's at an exponential level, right?
It is, Connie. Thank you for reiterating that and sharing that story. That's a wonderful story. And I'm so happy for your client.
I love her.
Neat. That's great. Awesome.
She's doing all the work, Kath, right? I guided, she's doing. That's when the magic happens.
It is. That's wonderful. Yes. And that's what I do. I focus specifically on the mindset because they're here for change. They come to see me because they're proactive and they want change. Yes. So we got to figure out, okay, what's stopping them or what do we need to build on to get that change? Absolutely. So as I stated, the brain's wiring will change. And you also picked up on that, Connie. You said neuroplasticity. And that is what I'd like to share with your audience, what that is all about.
That'd be great.
If I may.
That'd be great. That would be great.
Okay, great. I want to start with, did you know, Connie, you probably remember that we've heard growing up that as an adult, we could no longer learn. We didn't take in anything. Do you remember that myth that adults really didn't learn anymore?
I don't know that you have to remember something. I come from a family of you should learn something new every day. Otherwise you're starting to die, right? So my dad is I call him, he's 90s. He's my Renaissance man, right? He's very forward thinking. So I will say that I maybe am blessed that I was taught you should learn something new every day. I don't know that it was about growing the mind. He just felt like you're not showing up if you're not learning something new. That was the work ethic in him, right? But I have had friends who think, well, I'm an adult, I'm done with school now. I go to my 9-to-5 job, right? I curl up and I die at the end of the day. That's it.
Right. As if we don't need to learn anything or empower ourselves anymore. We're done.
Yeah.
It is terrible. Yes, living life is a lot of fun when you live life.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, science has proven to debunk that myth because in the name of neuroplasticity. Okay. So neuro refers to the neurons, the nerve cells in the building blocks of the brain and nervous system, and that plasticity is how the brain is malleable. Okay. So to me, that is a game changer for adults. We can prove there is evidence out there you can change your brain, which is great. This is great for people who think they're getting ready. They think they're on the edge of dementia or they've watched their parents with dementia. It's not only for mindset and shifting, it's just great in all walks of life here. But moving on, so we can reorganize the pathways, we can create new connections, we've got new neurons growing. And knowing this, as I said, is a game changer for all of us.
Absolutely.
This can help a person learn new things, no matter what your age is. You still can learn, even at 90.
Absolutely.
It enhances our cognitive capabilities. It supports and strengthens our brain areas, and it promotes brain fitness. So I love addressing adult mindsets because I feel like that's where what I call the gunk, that old stuff is stuck in there. We got to get it out. And then when we get it out, guess what? They can create new stuff. That's wonderful. It may take them longer than when they were 5, but it's still so possible. So we can create personal growth and change with that. And so I was thinking back to previous influencers as I was thinking, well, what am I going to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned earlier, I used to like to read the self-help books, the motivational influencers that seemed like they were a class of their own. They were way over here.
Yes. Yes.
Well, they knew that we could change our brain, but they just didn't. I'm thinking probably they didn't know exactly how, which is neither here nor there. As long as they knew we could do it,
Yep.
they were on the right track. One of my all-time favorites is Louise Hay.
Oh.
She is, yes. I see that you recognize her name.
Love her.
I do too. I do
Loved
too.
her. Yeah.
Yes. She was a motivational influencer and very positive and a great author and speaker.
Yes.
Anyway, she was known for the cliche, you can if you think you can. So again, we're addressing the mindset now with empowering words. And then I like to think of, I mentioned earlier, I read a lot about from Norman Vincent Peale. And one of his famous ones was change your thoughts and change your world. Also, Dale Carnegie, the Carnegie Libraries. He had, he has several, but one that came to mind was to conquer fear. Do not sit at home. Go to and get busy.
Yeah. Love that one.
Excellent, isn't it? And then one of the favorites that I always tell people, and I honestly don't know where I derived it, but I always tell people, you can if you think you can. It's just that simple.
Absolutely.
You can if you think you can. And they're like, oh. So anyway, all the cliches have similar themes. They empower action and they improve desired results. And they're changing those neural pathways in our brain if we're not already on that positive thinking path. So changing thoughts works. Our minds are shifting. Our minds are influential. Adults can keep learning, and our brains are forming new pathways, Connie.
Yeah.
So
all the time.
Yes, and it provides a roadmap for each of us.
Yeah.
And did you know, and you've alluded to this, but I like to think of it as what we feed our minds is what we produce.
Yeah, I want to pause there for 2020, right? We're all still hung up on 2020, but the reason I'm mentioning 2020 is not that I want us to get stuck there, right? But when 2020 hit, the world stopped, right? So I knew that everything I did, Kathy, prior to last year, I did live, I spoke live, I went to live events, I ran live events, I trained live, everything I did was live and in person. Well, that stopped on a dime. And I remember it was probably March 23rd, everything stopped in my world. And it must have been about June. And I was working 12-hour days, 7 days a week, trying to figure out what I didn't know. Because I'm thinking, wow, I have a lot of blind spots, but I don't even know what I don't know. Right? So I started doing research, doing classes online, all of these things. And I remember about June, Kathy, I went to my husband one night and he goes like, how's it going? And I said, I've been in business 20 years. I know nothing. And he burst out laughing. And I said, yes, of course I know how to run a business. Yes, I know how to do numbers. Yes, I know sales. Like I didn't lose any of those skills, but shifting from live to digital, one of my big blind spots was the technology. And now people are like, you're an expert on Zoom. You're an expert on Google Calendar. And I think, you should have seen me a year ago. I was a hot mess, right? I didn't know what I was doing. I was sending people invites on the wrong day. It was a disaster, but so now I look back and I giggle and I think, wow, I've come a long way, baby. But honestly, Kathy, it had to be about June last year. And I said to my husband, I don't know anything. Like everything I thought I knew, it's a new game out there. I have to start from scratch again, in a certain extent. So that's what we're talking about, guys. So now, Kathy, I think this is what you're saying, and I just want to concur that I'm following for my listeners as well. Last year was forced upon me, didn't have a choice, just like everybody else. I made the choice to educate myself on what I didn't know or what I didn't think I knew or what I think I needed, right? Again, it was a lot of thinking and feeling through it. Okay. At the end of it, though, I learned so much. I grew so much. the beginning, but here's the main point, I think, of what Kath, what you're trying to say is I had the positive attitude of my husband lost his job. We had no income coming in. I could have curled up and died and said, oh, what do we do? Oh my God, the sky is falling. Instead, I thought, what don't I know? What do I need to know? And keep moving forward. So that positive attitude or my positive drive is what moved the needle, right? Created what I'm creating this year. That's what Kathy's talking about. Like, crap happens, man, to all of us. What are you doing about it? What you feed your mind, that's what your reality will come, right? That's what you're going to see before you. Am I getting this whole what we feed our minds, and was that a good story to prove, or not to prove, but to give an example of what you're talking about?
Yes, it was a great story to reinforce exactly what I'm talking about. And I keep envisioning you reinvented yourself.
100%. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you had an exciting business. It was working well.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic was like a tornado coming through your town. It took it away.
Yep.
And you said, well, the world just doesn't stop. I've got to do something different. And you reinvented yourself. You didn't know anything about technology. Think of all those new neural brain pathways you created.
But you know what was interesting, Kathy? I was almost going to say my brain hurt a lot, but that really isn't the truth. You know what I was excited. I hadn't been excited like a child on Christmas morning excited. Like as I would learn something, at dinner, the kids were home and I'd be like, you know what I learned today? And my kids were like, yeah, Mom. And blah, 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 blah. I'm like, wait, what did you just say? Wait, what can I do with that? So it was we had this dynamic as a family dynamic conversation, but I was excited again. I loved my business, but I was excited again about business. So it was a little bit of of autopilot success for 20 years. And holy crap, I'm excited. I'm rebuilding something. There's an energy in that shift as well, even though, like you said, the tornado was coming through. So I want people to understand that. I think when we learn, Kath, and don't you see this with your clients, though? As they're learning, don't you see them get a little more excited?
Right. I see those. I call them light bulb moments.
Yes.
When the light bulb goes off,
Yes.
and they go, yeah, I can do this. Or, yeah, this is fun. Or, yes, this is possible. Or, yes, I never thought of that opportunity. Or, wow, I'm so glad we got rid of that thought process I had.
Exactly.
Whatever it may be. Yes. Light bulb moments. That's
Light bulb
exciting,
moments.
Connie.
It is exciting. So talk about, feeding our minds, we have a few minutes left, but feeding our minds with healthy thoughts. And I know you believe in affirmations. Tell us why affirmations are important, and maybe even give us a couple of examples if that you can do.
I'd love to. In fact, we might even do some together if you'd like.
Beautiful.
Okay.
I'm game.
All right. What our everyday thoughts are is what we're feeding our minds. So if you've ever been around negative, complaining people, their life seems to be a little bit tricky. And if you're in their environment or situation, it always seems to have like a low energy, kind of negative vibes going on. Like when, I think back when my children were in school and I was around some of these parents that were really struggling or complaining a lot, it just, things weren't working for them. So I believe, and I've learned since then, as I studied in life coaching too, negativity is promoting more negativity. Mm. Okay? So let's take the opposite of that. Let's take someone who's very positive, who's happy, energetic, and usually they are attracting vibrancy and high energy and positivity and good things into their life. Okay? Of course, there's going to be exceptions on both of these, but I like to think of positivity is producing more positivity. So that's a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. So with this premise, empowering our thinking, again, is essential for powerful living. Now, this talk today is about positive affirmations, Connie, but there's so many other strategies that we can use to empower our thinking. This is just one of the bridges to get us there. Okay? Mm-hmm. And people create present tense statements to reinforce or change their thoughts. But I wanted to share a story here, if I may, Sure. about a student I had at school. He was a nice young man. He studied hard. He knew the material, but Connie, he couldn't pass his test. So that he ended up in my office. The teachers were very fond of him. They reinforced and validated that he knew the material, and they were concerned that he wasn't passing his test.
Mm.
And he was the exact same way. He said he was getting discouraged. So I told him, after visiting with him, we talked about setting up some positive affirmations, which I called back then probably present tense sentences, and some good thoughts. And we set some up to help build his confidence, to help him gain clarity, and to help improve his test taking skills. Then my protocol is to say these twice a day, usually once in the morning, last at night, while looking in the mirror, and stating them 3 times each. Now, this is a young man going, what? And I'm going, just believe me. And he said, I don't have anything to lose. I will do this.
That's right.
And he did, which really surprised me, because a lot of times my young men would balk. And he did. And within several weeks, I began noticing positive change. He seemed more confident and self-assured. And then he told me he passed his first test. And of course, at that time, people were like, okay, is it time to stop? No, you're just beginning.
Double down.
Yeah, double down. I encouraged him to keep doing what he was doing, and he would continue to blossom, which he did. His confidence began to radiate from his body. You could just see it. And he was very proud of himself, and he began to enjoy school again and hanging out with his friends. So that is a true story, and that's just one of many examples of how positive affirmations can work for people. Now, I've got some people that'll say, well, how long will it take? And, everybody's different. I cannot even tell you what the timeline will be from one person to the next. We've got guesses, estimated guesses, based on, once I get to know them. But sometimes something may take up to 2 years. But that's usually a higher goal or something that they're not equipped to deal with at the moment. Again, those blinders are in place.
Right.
So let's see. Our thoughts are essential to who we are being, and we need to be mindful of what we're telling ourselves and what we're telling our loved ones. I highly suggest to say positive, powerful thoughts to your mind every day and to your loved ones.
Yeah, and you said something I think that's important too, that you had first of all, great story. I love when the kids get those light bulb moments and build their confidence, because it's tough. I think it's tough growing up in this world today with social media and the comparophobia. So that's such a great story, number one, and that he was able to start passing those tests and build confidence and have more fun in life. We have to have joy in life, right? So that's one thing. The other thing I love about that story is that you had him look in the mirror. I think that's very powerful. Not only do we need to say things in our brain of you've got this, you're strong, right? You keep one foot in front of the other, right? All those kind of positive things that we say to ourselves internally. But I love that you had him say it to the mirror. So you're saying it to yourself. You really are saying it, but you're saying it to the living, breathing self that you see in the mirror. That's really powerful. And I just love the transformation for that young man. Guys, we are what we think. And Kath, what do we have, like 69 thoughts a day, and 80% of them are negative, and the next day 90% of those same thoughts that we had the day before happen again. So that negativity, we're breeding that negative thought. So this mindset shift that we talked about today, it's critical. I think it's critical to be happy, let alone relieve stress and improve, quality of life and success, whatever that means to anybody. But this is pretty powerful stuff.
Absolutely, Connie. And I wanted to know if you'd like to do some positive affirmations with me.
Sure. We have about 2 minutes. So yeah, let's do it.
2 minutes?
Can we do one?
Well, yes, we can. But I wanted your audience to also be able to join in. So I need them to grab pen and paper.
Okay.
And give them just a second. And as they're doing that, I want us to think about 3 common negative beliefs that we all say to ourselves, such as, I can't do it, and we can change that into I can do it. So, Connie, I was going to start off with one, and then I wanted you to add one to our list.
Okay.
I always hear from people that I am not good enough. And that can be changed into several. What comes to mind for me is I am good enough, I am worthy, and I am important. So they can choose any of those, or they can practice all three of those, or they can add even more. But they notice these are all present tense statements.
Yep.
Okay. Now, can you think of a short negative self-talk message that we could share with the audience? And I'm keeping them short so that they can wrap their brain around it if they're not familiar with this, and they can build upon this later in
Yep.
their, at home.
Yeah. I'm overwhelmed.
Okay. What do you believe is the opposite of I am overwhelmed?
I am in control. I am happy. I am flourishing. That would be where I would shift from when I feel overwhelmed, that's what I do. I am in control. I am happy, and I am thriving, or I'm flourishing.
I like I am thriving or I am flourishing. Okay, great. Now, I was going to do one more. That is, I'm fearful.
Ah,
The opposite of I am fearful is I am courageous.
I
Right?
love that. Mm-hmm.
So now, you already stated this, but looking in the mirror is very important. And a lot of people feel like these aren't true. I can't look in the mirror. And my pushback to their pushback is we want these to become true. In order for them to become true, we've got to ignore the feelings and look in the mirror and state them 3 times out loud, twice a day is what I encourage. Now, even once a day is better than nothing.
Absolutely.
So just get started. So do you want to state these 3 out loud together?
Sure. Okay, so
Okay.
got
What do we got? Let's do I'm important,
I am
and
important.
then let's do I am flourishing,
I am flourishing,
and I am courageous.
and I am courageous. I like all of them.
I do too. So on the count of 3, audience, this is what I would like for you to do at home if these pertain to you or any that you set up in present tense statements. And we're going to pretend we're looking in the mirror as we say them. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I am important.
I am
I am flourishing.
flourishing,
And I am courageous.
and I am courageous.
Awesome. And again, you would do those 3 times a piece. So I also want to encourage them that I know they sound so simple, but there is so much value. They can use these positive affirmations or similar ones as mottos to help them ease transitions and hard times, to help them get through stressful times, as we talked about earlier. And, they can build upon them. And the process is just flexible and easy to implement. So I'm so glad we got to talk about that today.
Yeah, and this, Kath, this is so important because I think that there's so much negativity in the world, the news, the media, right? We're constantly comparing ourselves to our Facebook friends and all of these things. So we're very good at putting ourselves down. So these little affirmations that are simple, keep them simple but powerful, and really look in the mirror and do it by, it's what you feed your brain, you do become, and I believe that. So just use some of these tips that Kathy shared today, and here's the cool thing. Try them for a month and watch how the change in your life. Like my story with Valerie, 3 weeks we've been working together, and she already sees the difference from doing little, and we put little different changes into practice. It's not like I made her overhaul her whole. It's the opposite. I'm like, try this, try that. They were almost offhanded, try this or try that, but the result is exponential. That's what Kathy is asking you guys to do today. So if you'd like more information on Kathy, please go to her website. It's kathyherring.com, and Kathy is with a C, so Cathy, Herring, Herring. If you have a question specifically for Kathy, email her at kathy@kathyherring.com. And one last thing, Kathy was so gracious. She has a free gift for everyone. If you go to, and I'm going to put the link in the show notes, but you will get a 1 free 20-minute coaching session with Kathy. She could help you put some little things in place. Also, you will get a PDF pocket guide of 15 positive affirmations for you to carry around, or you to start to implement, looking in the mirror and doing it. She kind of has them written out for you. And the promo code is Connie. me. So I will put the link with the promo code and what the gift is. So please check that out. Please sign up. And just start playing with those little affirmations and sign up for your 20-minute free consult with Kathy. I promise you it's not going to be a waste of time. If anything, you're going to be super surprised at the results just in that 20. What that 20 minutes can give you on the back end will be exponential. So please go to the link I will provide, but it's kathyherring.com. Kathy, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate the work that you're doing. And the other thing, you're just a very kind person. And so anybody that works with you, I know they have to feel your love and care. And I think that's important as a business owner, to come from this place of love, care, and respect. And I think you do that just naturally. So thank you so much for what you do and for being on the show.
Awesome, Connie. Thank you so much for letting me be your guest today. I'm honored, and I am so happy to share this information with your audience.
Yeah, always a pleasure hanging out with you, my friend.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
you too.
Thanks so much. And you guys, I hope you will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together. No matter what change you're facing, my guests and I really do hope that you take the tips, strategies, and ideas, implement them today. When you go to bed tonight, look in the mirror. You pick your 3 affirmations, or go get the PDF from Kathy so that you can use her affirmations if you don't know where to begin. Change is easier than you think. You have to be the catalyst of change in your life. So please, do something differently, right? Those changes create application, do the application, and that's where the results and magic really does happen. Thank you for listening to Enlightenment of Change with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net. Thank you all. I really do wish you a wonderful week, and I truly am honored to have you on this journey of change with me. And I always hope that my guests and I provide just a tip or two to help you move the needle of change in your life. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.